everybody. Welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest will be competing in a couple days at the Toronto Pro Super Show. I first saw him there last year, where he competed as a pro about 10 minutes after winning the pro qualifier and earning his pro card. He is Robin Strand. How are you, Robin?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me on, Ron. It's good to see you again, and yeah, I'm excited for this.
I was going to say from so-and-so Canada, but I forgot what part of Canada you're from.
Yeah, I'm from Toronto.
Oh, Toronto, okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
everyone's either from Montreal or Toronto, it seems.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Does anybody live in like the western part of that country? No, not really.
With bodybuilding, it's very scattered unless you're kind of in like Montreal or Ontario or
Yeah.
around that central hub.
Yeah, that's all I ever hear is everybody's either from Montreal or Toronto, all the best bodybuilders. So,
Yeah, then there's only like 3 or 4 people that live up north, so.
okay, fair enough. So yeah, let's backtrack. Our first interview took place a year ago after the 2018 Toronto Pro. So you had won the qualifier. Actually, I said 10 minutes, but when did you actually get your award for and your pro card on that weekend?
So the pro qualifier, I think it was about like 2 or 3 p.m. and then the night show for the actual pro show was probably around 7 or 8 p.m.
Wow. And so what did they say? They said, if you want, you can be in the pro show in a few hours?
No, actually, I had looked into it and saw that it would be possible to do that. So right after I got off stage, I went to Ron Hash and I asked him, I was like, hey, can you get me in for tonight? Obviously, I didn't have a contract. It wasn't signed. That's why I wasn't on the list.
Right.
But he brought me straight to Jim Mannion, and he said, Jim, can you put Robin on for tonight? And Jim said, if he can sell some tickets. And I said, sure, I'll do my best.
So did he give you a roll of tickets and you had to go sell them?
No, he was kidding. But he said, yeah, no problem. And then I signed the contract then and went on in a few hours later. So yeah, it was really cool.
And there were about 25 guys, I believe, in the open division.
I think there was like 18 or 19. Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
Let's still, you took 8th place, literally hours after turning pro at 25 years old, or were you still 24 at that point?
Yeah, I was 25, yeah.
So, great accomplishment. So we haven't really spoken since then. I know you've been working hard. I saw you bulked up and what's the heaviest you got up to in the off season? You looked pretty huge at one point.
Heaviest I was 282, I believe. Yeah.
Woo! And you're about right around 6 foot?
Yeah, I'm 5'11".
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got large. So what did you compete at last year when you won the qualifier and you did the Toronto Pro?
I'm not sure about the pro show weight, but for the qualifier, I was about 239, 240. And for this show, I'm about 245.
Okay, so about 5-6 pounds of quality muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you know that that whole time that's the show you were going to come back to? You were determined to come back to Toronto this year?
I did know that I would definitely do Toronto this year, and Ron wanted me to as well.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to do New York, and I knew I was going to do Toronto. I remember, like, right after the show, we had the interview, and I told you I was going to do those shows. So all year, that's what I was thinking about, man. So I knew that these were the 2 shows I was going for, and after that, I wasn't really thinking after that.
Yeah, and you made top 10 in New York, and it was a pretty strong lineup. We had a bunch of guys in the top 10 who've been at the Olympia before. And I think I have to say, it's not even a question. You had the best posing routine, the most entertaining posing routine of the night. I wish I could play a video of it. Is it online anywhere where people can check?
I'm actually going to be putting up a video pretty soon because we vlogged the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And it's just editing right now, but it'll definitely be online. And when it is, I'll send it to you.
Okay. Do you have your own YouTube channel?
I do, yeah. It's Robin Strand on YouTube.
Strand. So check it out, guys. It's worth watching because the part I remember the most, I know there was a lot of different parts to it, but there's a rap song. Is it called King Kong?
King Kong, yeah.
King Kong. And
by Jibs.
Who does it?
Jibs.
Jibs. Okay, I don't even know who that is, but I'm sure my son does. But you were jumping around the stage like Donkey Kong, and it was hilarious. And some guy next to me was complaining to the guy. He goes, "Oh, this is ridiculous." I turned around and I said, "Would you rather like snooze? Because these other guys' routines are putting me to sleep." And he shut up. He didn't have an argument for that. But Did you come up with that routine on yourself, or did somebody choreograph that for you?
It wasn't choreographed very much,
Hmm.
but I did actually practice it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like it's a little controversial. I understand. Not everyone loves it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not everyone's gonna love your style, and that is my style.
Yeah.
It's never gonna be the same. So I'm never gonna be doing the same posing routine twice.
I hope you do that
And
one. Do that one Saturday though. Come on.
I got a new one already.
Oh
That's the thing.
man.
For me, like the whole thing about posing is it's based on how I feel going into that show. And for me, the New York reminded me of like King Kong being up on that building and pounding his chest and just being all crazy.
Yeah.
I do have to admit the adrenaline was crazy at the New York Pro Show. So what I had choreographed actually was taken away from me a little bit with all the adrenaline going on.
Yeah.
So when I went, and if I ever repeat something very similar to that, it would be different because I never want to do the same thing twice.
You've only done a couple pro shows, but New York. I don't know how much you've heard about it. I've been going to the New York Pro, and before that, it was called Night of Champions for a long time. And it's a different audience. It's a different atmosphere, a different energy. Could you sense that these people they're really into it? Was it a
I
new
was
experience for you from what you're used to?
huge. I mean, I was honestly more intimidated, I think, being on that stage than I thought I was going to be. So I had anticipated feeling confident going on that stage. But when it came down to it, I was shaken, and I was nervous, but I had so much fun. So I cannot even, have any negatives to say about that experience. It was so great. And even to get top 10, I feel like I could have been better.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't the way that I wanted to be, top 10 was really good for me. So coming off of the prejudging, I was a little bit disappointed. I have to admit that. But I feel like I came back a little bit better for the night show. And the points do prove that I did get better over the night show and made the top 10.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, it was just a learning experience because we tried a different approach, something that I'm not used to. And, you have to make those choices to change up what you're doing in order to learn and get better. So,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, it's the third toughest show in the sport. It's the Olympia, the Arnold, and New York Pro. Those are the top three shows. So for you to do that, it was ballsy move, and to make top 10, you proved you're definitely on the rise. You belong up there. You're just getting started. This is tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg. I want to talk about coaching because last year you're working with a guy I've interviewed twice now. I think Benoit Lapierre.
Yep.
But for this show, you worked with, I don't think he's technically retired, Justin Compton. Excellent competitor. Dropped off the competitive scene a couple years back, but he's been getting into coaching. How did you guys end up working together?
Yeah, I think Justin's a great coach. I think he's done with competing himself, but he invests a lot into his clients. And working with him was a really good experience for me because we have very similar communication. We have a good connection in terms of relationship. And I like his style because he does, reach out quite a bit and make sure that everything's okay. The only thing that I think was hard was doing a peak week with someone who wasn't there in person.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's how do you do that? Is it FaceTime or just pictures? What was that process?
We just did it with pictures in WhatsApp.
Hmm.
So we would take pictures every morning, and then as we got closer, we would take pictures, after every couple meals, and then every meal, and then as we got closer, we would just do it more frequently.
Okay. So, we talked right before we started recording. You said you're doing your own thing. You're gonna try this yourself for the Toronto show. Geez, what are we? 2 days away? 3 days away? So, without giving away all your secrets, what are you going to do differently? What do you hope to improve on in terms of the package that you bring?
For myself, I just feel like I really want to bring that conditioning that I had from last year. Because I do know that I added some quality mass to certain areas, like my back is a little bit better, my hamstrings are a lot better, and my chest is a lot better, and I'm really happy about the improvements that I made. But in order to show those body parts off to the best that I possibly can, I knew that I needed to be tighter, especially in the midsection, and just overall feeling better on stage. So for me, I'm using foods that I know work better for me.
Okay.
And that's definitely not a knock on Justin, because I know that with our communication, he was very understanding about certain foods. But again, just being there in person is obviously a lot different than with pictures.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. But for Benoit, he's always been, a really close friend and a mentor to me, and I'm very grateful to always have him by my side. So if there's ever a time where I doubt what I'm doing on my own, and I'm sure because you competed for many, many years, that the closer you get, the more you're going to second and third and fourth guess yourself.
Right.
So having my team, my fiance Sam, and having Benoit there just to make sure that my mind stays on straight. And if I do have any doubts, they can bring me back away from that. That's the most important thing, because they're here in person with me. So they see me every single minute, and, I can real time communicate with them. And that's very important, I think.
Yeah, because you bring up an interesting point, because most of these name coaches, they're working with people from very far away, either different parts of the country or many countries, around the world. So they're doing that. They're working with people through pictures, FaceTime, and I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they nail it perfectly under those circumstances. If I was a coach, I'd want to see that person right in front of me. At least be with them like the last week. I'm just curious, are there any great coaches based out of Toronto? Prep coaches?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, the closest guy that's popular is Dorian.
Dorian Hamilton, yeah.
I don't really know anyone else that's considered like a big name prep coach that's around this area.
Yeah.
But again, I trust Benoit, and I trust, my fiance's eyes. So that's all I need, really.
Let's talk about Sam Slater, your fiance. So
Absolutely.
Anybody that follows your Instagram, Strand Strong, you're always putting pictures of her and you together. So, you're not one of these guys that's trying to hide his girlfriend so the other girls will DM him or whatever. Anyway, you said she's getting ready for the show, and I kept looking for her name on the list of the Toronto Pro, and I'm like, I don't see her name there. And then you just told me she's hoping to pull a Robin Strand. She's doing the pro qualifier.
Yeah.
So could she theoretically possibly do the same thing? If she wins that, would they let her into the pro, or is it because the judging is a different time? Is it going to work out?
Unfortunately for her show, because the qualifier is Friday and Saturday, she'll be doing her finals on Saturday while the women of the pros are doing their prejudging. So it won't work out for her to do that. However, it doesn't mean she couldn't do a pro show the weekend after her.
Sure. Yeah.
And after that, so.
I mean, was Europa? Is the Dallas show coming up? There's always shows coming up, so yeah. But you're still technically competing together, even if it's not same stage, same time. But
correct.
You guys, have you prepped for shows together in the past?
Absolutely. We've been prepping for the same show since the first time we did Toronto together in 2017.
Wow. So 3 years in a row you prepped for this show together?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, most people would say that's a horrible idea. You guys are going to murder each other, but obviously it actually must work out pretty well for you guys to prep together.
We love it, man. Like, it just makes us stronger. And, we're getting married this year, like I told you before.
Yeah.
So our wedding is actually 3 weeks after the Toronto Pro.
Oh, okay.
That's really exciting. And I don't think that we would have built such a good connection if we didn't have these experiences together, because it's hard. You have two people who are so focused on something other than each other, but you still have to focus and find time for each other. That really brings you together, especially at the worst of times, because there's always going to be that one person who feels horrible, and you're going to have that one person that can bring the other one up, and then vice versa. If you can manage that all the way through a prep, it's an unstoppable team, man. I'm telling you. So very lucky to be able to do that with her.
I mean, most people the last 2 to 3 weeks before a show, you're feeling so antisocial. Even the people, your friends and family, you don't even want to talk to them. You don't want to look at them. This is my personal experience, and a lot of people I know anyway. You're not in a good place psychologically, because you're miserable from the diet and all that, and the low energy and everything. But like I said, if you guys can get through that not only once but multiple times, and you haven't nobody's hurt anybody or nobody's called anybody any names that can't be taken back. Yeah, I think you guys are golden.
Yeah, I completely agree. And especially when, you're competing and you're so passionate about doing something together, you can really understand how the other person is feeling. And that's, I think, very important, because if you're not with someone who can understand how you're feeling, and that's, very different, I think, from relationship to relationship, but it's almost like she can read my mind. Like sometimes she knows how I'm feeling better than myself. I'll be like, babe, I feel a certain way. I just don't know how to tell you what it is. And she's like, I know how you're feeling. And I'm like, well, that's perfect, because otherwise, how would I explain it if I don't know what it is, right? So women have that magic kind of intuition, and having one that's very passionate about her own bodybuilding career is a blessing.
Yeah, I
She's
mean, realistically, could you really even think of yourself being long-term relationship or even married to a woman that wasn't into this lifestyle, didn't really understand it?
After being with Sam, absolutely not, man. Like I wouldn't be a professional right now if it wasn't for her, because her drive and her motivation, her passion is what pushes me to be a better man every single day, and that's just something that I couldn't replace.
Who does all the cooking?
We cook for ourselves. Like
Oh boy.
she does her own food and I do my own food, and we just keep it completely separate because our diets are complete opposite.
Well, I mean, are you eating like all chicken and she's eating all fish, or how's it break down?
I'm eating all fish, she's eating all chicken. But
Okay.
I will say that if there's going to be anything done on the barbecue, I'll handle that.
Okay. Yeah, men can grill.
Yeah.
But
And she'll cook for me if I ask her to. If I ask her to cook some rice because I'm out of rice or something, she'll do that for me, and vice versa. But for the most part, just because we have our own separate diets and they're opposite foods usually,
yeah.
which works out because we're not fighting over the same foods. We just take care of our own food.
But man, I mean, even now, I bet you're going through. You said you're eating mostly fish,
It's mostly fish and beef right now. Yeah.
so you're probably going through like 20, 30 pounds of fish a week. Wow, if you're buying it fresh, whew.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time and money right there, cooking and buying fish. Yeah, we talked last year a little bit about Canada really was starting to pump out some amazing athletes, and I think it's even more so a year later now. We're seeing such a I don't want to say call it a mecca, but man, Toronto especially seems to be blowing up lately. Antoine and all Regan and Bumstead, Ian. It's basically become like the mecca. I mean, do you hear a lot of guys from like even other parts of Canada moving to Toronto trying to be part of that?
I think a lot of guys are getting attracted to this area now because the more hardcore bodybuilders there are, the more it attracts other hardcore bodybuilders to come. And especially as new gyms start to open up, then they become the new meccas of the area. Other pros start to move in and train because, the pros are training there. I want to train with more pros. And that kind of helps grow like the smaller communities that we have, because it's way different here than in the States. Like when we went to Bev's, we were just blown away because there was like 15 pros in the same facility all at once. Usually there's like, one pro at this gym, and then across the city there's another pro, and then an hour north there's another pro. They're kind of spread out quite a bit in Ontario, anyways.
Yeah.
But now, because like you said, there's more of us, we're actually getting a little bit closer and a little bit tighter knit, which is really great, because then you see guys like Quentin and Regan and Antoine, and those guys are all training together and they're pushing each other, and that's how they're going to get better, and I think that's amazing. So
What are the top two or three main hardcore gyms in that area that you might find pros at?
well, we train in Scarborough, Ontario, which is where we live. That's the part of Toronto that we live. It's the East End.
Okay.
And we train at Venice Fitness. And Venice, I started training there when we moved here, which was in February.
Yeah.
And then a couple other professional bodybuilders and figure girls started training there as well. Mary Valid,
Yeah.
Antoine Hamlet, And I'm actually going to be training with James Hollingshead there today,
Oh,
which is
wow.
really cool. So obviously he doesn't live here, but I mean it's a great gym. So we joke around and we call it the East Coast Mecca of Canada
Yeah.
because it's starting to grow and get a little bit more popular with some of the bodybuilders. So
How far away are you from Toronto? Or is it just outside?
we can drive to the Metro Convention Center in 15 minutes.
Oh,
So
okay. Wow.
which is where the Toronto Pro is. Yeah.
I was gonna say, poor James. I thought you were gonna make him drive like 2 or 3 hours or something to get to you.
No, I think he's down there. So yeah, it won't take him long to get here, and
Okay.
that's going to be fun.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to the most about this particular show this year?
Just being better, man. Honestly, like at this point, like I think I had so much expectation for myself at New York
Hmm.
that that's why I felt disappointed that I wasn't better. But again, like after taking the time to reflect and just realize that it's a learning experience, I'm never going to peak perfectly 100% of the time. That's unrealistic to believe that that could be possible.
Hmm.
But it doesn't mean that I won't get closer every single time. My goal for this show and what I'm most excited about is just showing off my best package ever, and that's honestly all I care about right now. And besides that, just going with the energy of having that hometown advantage and watching my fiance win her pro card at the show.
Yeah. I mean, how many friends and family do you think you got coming to the show?
I don't know. I know my mom's going to be there, and that's, the most important person besides Sam that I want to be there.
Yeah.
But, we have a bunch of friends that'll be there cheering for us, and that, really feels good. And we'll have some family that'll be there for us, and that feels really good too. So, having some of the crowd on your side obviously brings you up and, really gives you some energy when you're up there and you feel kind of tired or whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's all stuff to look forward to. I'm just really excited for this show.
I can say because this contest has every division. It's got bodybuilding, even women's bodybuilding, men's
Yep.
physique, women's physique, fitness, figure, bikini, wheelchair. When I was there, actually, because this is my third year going, they'll announce where everybody's from, and at least half the people, I'm almost sure, are from Ontario, somewhere in Ontario. So I
For
think
sure.
like everybody with a pro card in Ontario does this show if they can, which I
Yeah.
would. I would too. But man, and you're right, a lot of good support. It's such a different feeling up there. I don't want to stereotype, but man, it's just more polite and friendly. I don't want to put New York down because I'm in Boston. We're not that far away, but it's just such a more friendly vibe up there. People are just nicer. I don't know.
Well, that's the Canadian vibe, but New York was amazing too. Like the energy there was super crazy intense. Like that was one heck of a rush, that's for sure. Toronto, like you said, we're a little bit more polite, maybe not as loud, but
Yeah,
we will definitely cheer for the people that we're there to support,
yeah,
and that's really cool. But being on a pro stages now, because I've only been on New York, and I can only really compare that to Toronto.
yeah,
I'm excited to see what other environments are like, because I want to compete in Romania and I want to compete in Asia and I want to compete, at the Arnold, and I want to get myself to the Olympia and experience all those different types of feelings too. So I imagine every single stage is different and has their own kind of like energy associated with it. So
yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned that because I think you really should take advantage of traveling as much and competing if you can because all the retired pros I talk to, they say those are their best memories. It's the people the fans they met in Korea, Australia, France, Italy, wherever they went. And later on in life, when they've stopped competing, someone like Kevin Leveroni, who's got his own supplement line now, he has a successful supplement line because he went to all these places for all those years and built a fan base all around the world. So, because I know a lot of guys don't like to compete as much anymore and they don't want to go too far away from home, but I would encourage anyone, based on conversations I've had with people like Sean Ray and Kevin and Flex Wheeler, anyone that's done all that extensive traveling, they always say it was the best thing I ever did for my career and for my career after competition, especially. So,
awesome.
definitely do that.
Yeah, that's really good to know, and I'm definitely going to be considering during my off season like what I'm going to do for next year because my goal for this year was to do two shows,
Yeah.
because up until this point I've only done one. So what I want to do for next year is do three, but do them in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And in terms of which ones yet, I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about it too much yet, but definitely to get that experience, it's going to happen.
Well, I mean, one thing, an easy thing to look into would be the Arnold Classic to try to get invited to some of the international ones. Because, geez, wouldn't you like to go to Brazil to compete, or some of these other places?
Well, that would be part of my dream.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm trying to recall which ones because Arnold split it up between IFBB Pro League and the other guys. But I know Brazil is still IFBB Pro League. I'm trying to think. I think there's one more too. Anyway, you got plenty of time to figure it out.
Yeah. I know there's Australia, there's Brazil,
Yeah.
and then there's the classic.
Yeah, I mean either one of those, Australia or Brazil would be. Australian fans and Brazilian fans, they go bonkers for pro bodybuilding because they're just so much more appreciative of seeing name pro bodybuilders than some places you'll go. They're a little more jaded because they've seen them a million times. But
That's true.
you'll definitely get some love and appreciation when you go to those places, based on everything I've ever heard.
Yep.
So here we are, 2 days, 3 days away. This is I consider this your rookie season, really, because last year wasn't really a rookie season. You just had you just turned pro literally that day. So
Yeah.
third pro show ever.
Yeah.
You've been top 10 in both of them. I'm very confident you're going to be top 10. At the minimum 10, but we're hoping for much, much higher than that this time. Any final words? Anybody you want to thank? Any people that have really helped you for this prep?
Yeah, for sure. Like, number one, I always got to thank my fiance, Sam, because she just, whenever I need her, she's there. She's, the best thing in my life. Number two, Crystal from Crystal Creations, who got me suits ready last minute when, I didn't have a suit. And that was amazing. And I'm really happy to be working with her. Number three would be Bill from JW Foods, who's a local organic meat supplier here in Scarborough. And, he makes sure that we have the best quality food at really good prices. That makes a huge difference for us. Also, Cellfire for helping us facilitate getting to these stages as well. And that's a new supplement company that will be releasing their products later on this year. And Benoit for his continued support, for Justin for helping me get to that New York Pro stage and guiding me, teaching me what I needed to know at the time. And you, man, for just being there to support me and
I am the best.
doing this interview. It's getting me even more excited to compete this weekend. So I really appreciate that, and it's always a good time talking to you, man.
No, likewise. You're young, you're enthusiastic, you have that passion for the sport. It's guys like you that keep the old timers like us still interested because, we've been around so damn long. I've been to so many damn shows. So for someone, it's being around people that still have that fire and passion where it's kind of still new to them. I feed off your energy and it keeps me going after all these many, many decades. So appreciate you too, guy. So I will see you in a couple days right there in your homeland of Canada. So looking very much forward to it. So everybody check this guy out. Instagram is Strand Strong, all one word, Strand Strong. You've got that locked up for a few different accounts, right? Your emails and all that. Strand Strong. And you're going to follow, please, the play-by-play coverage and the contest photos, musculardevelopment.com on the Noble Forum this weekend. We'll be throwing up plenty of content. See how this guy does. You can see it as it happens. I'll be there taking pictures and commentating so you can see just how Robin Strand does this weekend in pretty much real time. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you for your time, Robin. Appreciate you doing it last minute while you're just about ready to compete. And that's all. For the Ronline Report, this has been me, Ron, with Robin Strand. Thanks for watching.